New Mexico is a state where racial minorities make up a majority of the population, and as the U.S. Census approaches, difficulties in getting an accurate count of both Native and Latino populations throw doubt on the security of the state's federal funding. U.S. Senators Martin Heinrich and Tom Udall asked the Census Director to visit New Mexico this week to better understand the challenges of getting the census count right. Correspondent Gwyneth Dolan was there when Senator Udall visited with the director and local officials in Los Lunas to demonstrate some of those challenges and ensure the count is accurate.
The critical issue here is the undercount. You have areas that are very difficult to count, and they change over time. And why are they difficult to count? Things like fences, no streets that have names on them, dogs that are constantly controlling. You see all these beware a dog signs, and a number of other kind of obstacles in those areas.
Everybody's talking about getting accurate. What's at risk if we don't?
Well, there are a number of federal programs that specifically depend on the count. If you get an undercount, you lose money as a state, as a county, as a city. The last time around, I think the number was about $600 million in terms of New Mexico losing money on an undercount. And so we want to get the count right.
California is spending $100 million of its own money on making sure it gets a good count. New Mexico, as a smaller state, doesn't have those same cash resources. What can states like New Mexico do to get a good count if they can't spend a number like $100 million?
Well, I must tell you, I was very pleased today to hear what they are doing. And the Complete Count Commission at the state level is taking form and will be very active next week. And I think that's very symbolic. But there's also the local governments have their Complete Count committees with a number of partners in the nonprofit and with the civic organizations. So we're very pleased at what we're learning that New Mexico is doing. Money is important, but it's not everything. It's really the commitment.
From the last census, I believe this is about 6 or 7 times more than we spent 10 years ago. And so New Mexico is stepping up to the plate, and we're also going to see on these complete count committees a real effort and commitment by the communities in New Mexico to get their count right.
This is a really high-tech census process. It's available to do on the internet. You can use your phone, and that's great, but New Mexico struggles constantly with internet access.
That's right.
So how will technology help New Mexico get this count?
Areas that are connected, it'll make it easier for them, and that will allow the census people that are working on the count to spend more times on the harder to count areas. But clearly, I mean, we have a problem with connectivity. It not only hurts us in the census, it hurts our ability to have economic development. It hurts our ability for 9/11 emergency phone calls. It hurts for a number of reasons. And my entire career in Washington, one of my very top priorities is how do we get New Mexico more connected.
Director, the United States Supreme Court is set to rule any day now on the issue of whether or not the census will ask about citizenship. We have a lot of data that shows this will produce an undercount in a place like New Mexico. If it happens, if the question is on there, what can we do to make sure we do get everybody here counted?
Well, there's a lot of things, and we're going to be ready and to perform the census consistent with the court's decision. But let me just add that there's 3 simple messages we like to communicate to the public. That census is not only easy, as you've discussed, but it's also safe. And that's the area that I think will help most with the Supreme Court decision. The information is provided to us, and we are bound by law to protect its confidentiality. What we produce at the end of the day are aggregate statistics, but we do not release confidential information to any agency, to any law enforcement agency. We're bound by law. If we violate that law, we go to prison and we pay hundreds of thousands of dollars in potential penalties. And that hasn't happened in the Census Bureau.
Are you saying the government will not use this information to deport you?
That is exactly right. We produce statistics, aggregate statistics. We do not share that confidential information with anyone under any circumstance.
My last question is also about privacy. you know, we apparently are quite vulnerable to hacking across
Sure.
the government. And there are all these allegations that our election was hacked by the Russians. How do you assure people that the census will not be hacked?
Sure. We work on that each and every day, and that's a very important question, and it's certainly a priority for the agency. So we work with the best minds in the country, both within the federal government as well as in the private sector. We've done a lot of things. Some are best not discussed publicly, but we're really engaged in state-of-the-art protections. We have more protections than ever before, and some still yet to come. But at the same time, we must remain vigilant. So we do have mitigation strategies. Should we encounter something we don't expect, we have mitigation plans to limit any damage that would be done.
We will continue to follow the local census efforts on future shows, including nailing down exactly what information is considered confidential, as the director mentioned in our interview.